Hello and welcome to my review of Onirim. Onirim is a weird but fun little card game for 1 or 2 players. You play a Dreamwalker lost in a strange maze. To traverse the maze, you play cards which will help you to find the 8 door cards. You win the moment you have all 8 of them. If your draw deck runs out, you are lost in the maze. To set up the game, you just need enough space for your draw deck, your Limbo pile, which is a temporary discard pile, your actual discard pile, and a place to play your maze and door cards. At the beginning of the game, you draw 5 cards into your hand. If you draw any door or nightmare cards, place them in Limbo and draw up to 5 again. Then shuffle the Limbo pile back into the draw deck. Each turn then consists of 3 phases. In phase 1, you can either play or discard a card. To play a card, it has to have a different symbol than the previous card. If your last 3 cards are of the same color, you get to pick the corresponding door card out of the deck and put it down next to you. Discarding a card lets you put it on the discard pile and it is out of the game. If you discard a card with a key symbol, you fulfill a prophecy. This means you get to look at the top 5 cards of the deck. You have to discard one of them, but you can put the remaining 4 back in any order you want. In the second phase, you draw cards from the deck until you have 5 cards in your hand again. If you draw a door card and you happen to have a card with a key of the same color, you can discard the key to place the door on your door pile. Otherwise, you place it in Limbo. Drawing a nightmare card, on the other hand, gives you 4 options, all of which have a negative effect for you. You can either discard a key from your hand, or put one of the doors on your door pile back into Limbo. You can also either discard your entire hand or the top 5 cards of the deck. If you do the latter, any door or nightmare cards are put into Limbo. In phase 3, you shuffle the Limbo pile back into your draw deck. If you decide to play with a friend, the rules change slightly. In the beginning, you draw 8 cards and lay them out in front of both of you. Then you take turns picking cards until each of you has 3 cards in their hand. The remaining 2 cards are shared. Since you are basically exploring different parts of the maze, each player has their own space to play maze and door cards. Now, because your hand consists of the 3 cards you are holding as well as the 2 shared cards, you can discard any of those 5 in phase 1. This also means that if a player draws a nightmare and decides to discard their hand, they have to discard their personal 3 as well as the shared 2 cards. When drawing new cards, you start with your own and then replenish the shared cards. If you decide to discard a card in phase 1, you can also swap out one of your personal cards for one of the shared ones. This happens before any prophecies are fulfilled. The game ends if both players acquire one of each door. It is up to you how much you decide to communicate. You can either go full-on co-op or with complete silence. Onirim is a fun little game and I really liked it. A run through the maze takes about 15 minutes, which is a perfect length if you happen to have a bit of downtime and want something solitairish. The artwork on the cards is beautiful and reminds me a bit of the Sandman comics, so it is very fitting for the theme of the game. The box also includes 3 little expansions that you can mix and match that make it a bit more complex and even more difficult. If you like short games to pass the time or card games in general, I would definitely recommend you pick this up. Thank you very much for watching this review and I hope you tune in next time. Until then, feel free to visit Skypenguins.com or click here to see a sample game of Onirim.